I mean, sales is always uncomfortable. You never know what curveball will prospect throw at you. Email me in 3 months. I'm not interested. I'm in the meeting. And how do you deal with all of those things? So I completely get those people because it's very stressful at times because obviously you're trying to do your best, but sometimes things are not happening and outside of your control, and end up stressing out about the quota. So you have your numbers that you have to hit for a company to keep moving forward. And if you're not hitting that, it's very stressful. Obviously, sales is a privileged role because majority and organizations have commission plans. So if you make things happen, you're being compensated for that. And it's kind of one of those jobs that you're being paid the most outside of like strict coding, I would say. So that's a very interesting job, but it also comes with its downsides, like all those mental things that nobody talks to you about. So it's a job not for faint-hearted, that's for sure, but you're not born to be a seller. You have to master that.
Before we dive into today's episode, please hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us grow and inspire more people on their journeys. Thank you. Hello, Yurii. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
So, Yurii, for those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Yuri. I'm this guy who knows a little bit about sales because I've failed, I don't know, 1,000 times. And I've decided to start sharing my experience of how to fail maybe one last time for a person who's trying to join the sales world. And after that, things started happening on LinkedIn. And, I've started doing more and more interesting things outside of just typical sales. I've started creating content. I've started selling on LinkedIn. So, and now I'm proud to say that I've helped quite a few people to drive revenue on LinkedIn and on email.
Are you actually someone who's always been interested in sales? Because to me, I feel like that it might be like area that maybe is uncomfortable to some people or maybe a bit hard, trying to reach out to people and sell. So what is it like for you or what was it like before?
No, I haven't been interested in sales because sales is not what you're being taught in school or in college. It's something that you face when you go into business. I first had my sales experience where I was at a college and we had students organizations and we organized projects. We had to find our own sponsors, and this is where my first cold calls, cold emails happened. And I had this fun of closing big projects like HP as a sponsor or like big food sponsor. And I like that thrill of making things happen from nothing. So that's when I decided to kind of, hey, I think I'm good at that, but I need to master my craft. And I always wanted to run my own business. So I knew I had to join like a startup because in a startup, you're pretty much a generalist. You have to do anything. And I did join a startup, and we were lucky enough to become a big company that eventually went public. And I've kind of went through that journey. I've been in that company for 9 years. Never thought also I would be in any company for so long, but also I didn't feel as an employee because I was one of the like founding well, I was not a founder, but I was from the founding crew. And I closed the first 1,000 customers from outbound and inbound, then did a couple of interesting things from inbound and outbound front, then from partner program like affiliates, then obviously from content side. And I always had that different experience of building fundamentals when it comes to sales.
Yeah, that's impressive with the company. Well done on that. And I think when it comes to sales, it might be only me, or I think I heard it even from other people, that they feel, uncomfortable trying to sell or pitch to someone. Did you also experience this? Or if not, maybe what would you advise to people based on your experience?
I mean, sales is always uncomfortable. You never know what curveball will the prospect throw at you. Like email me in 3 months. I'm not interested. I'm in the meeting. And how do you deal with all of those things? So I completely get those people because it's very stressful at times because obviously you're trying to do your best, but sometimes things are not happening and outside of your control, and end up stressing out about the quota. So you have your numbers that you have to hit for a company to keep moving forward. And if you're not hitting that, it's very stressful. Obviously, sales is a privileged role because majority and organizations have commission plans. So if you make things happen, if you make deals happen, you're being compensated for that, and it's kind of one of those jobs that you're being paid the most outside of like strict coding, I would say. So that's a very interesting job, but it also comes with its downsides, like all of those mental things that nobody talks to you about. So it's a job not for faint-hearted, that's for
Hmm.
sure. But you're not born to be a seller. You have to master that. So it all comes to putting the reps in. And honestly, I'm still not comfortable to this day, but I've learned how to deal with that. So your thing grows thicker, and you just learn how to deal with that. It never gets easier. You just know how to navigate.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I agree. I think it's the right mindset. And when you are learning the craft, did you do like any course? Did you learn from someone or just by yourself? Or how did you learn all these skills, experience, and know-how?
Well, when I was learning, so you have to rewind the clock. I'm in sales for like 10 years now, outbound sales specifically. And at first, I always have read the books and stuff, everything that's keep happening. But I think my biggest learning came from being in the company whose main product was around outbound. So we were selling the software that helps you automate cold emails. So majority of our clients were also agencies, businesses, SaaS companies who were selling something. So you kind of end up learning a lot of things by observing what's working for other businesses when you have the access to that data. And in the process, we kind of figured out our own like know-how, because we are one of those few companies that had a huge data about what's working in outbound. So obviously books helped, and experience with other reps helped, hearing what they're doing, like constantly just checking out what others are doing. That's great. But the best basically educator in outbound sales is A/B testing. You have to just test things out and see what's working. So I think the most learning came from doing that craft, but it's also a specific type of knowledge. It's a type of advice that you couldn't find that much back in 2016. You had only a couple of like books available, and some of them were outdated.
Mhm. I guess it's a completely different situation or period. Like these days, you've got everything, let's say, on YouTube or even on LinkedIn when you follow the right creators. But back, let's say, 10 years or how long ago, I cannot imagine what was it like with resources.
It's easier now, and LinkedIn is a gold mine. A lot of people on YouTube also presenting some of their tips, but why it is happening that way is that the technological gap is not existing as it used to be. So the entry barrier in 2016 to outbound was higher. You had to put more effort into getting into it, because it was harder to make, like, to collect all the data and all those things. But weirdly, a paradox, that it was easier to get prospects' attention because it was harder to enter that game. So less people were participating.
Mhm.
But now the entry barrier has gone down. Tools make it easier to set up everything and start running. But because of it, more people are doing it right now, and more AI spam is happening. So prospects are fed up with that. And it's easier to start, but it's harder to stand out right now, if that makes sense.
I was going to say that I cannot imagine how much it changed or what is it like for you to look back and now, even with the advancements of AI and what is coming, like with all the pitches and automated messages and everything you receive, it's, quite crazy and definitely much different than before. And I'm sure it's going to be even more different in the future.
Yeah, outbound is not static. It's changing all the time. And the funniest thing I find about that is I used to be a book junkie. I used to read so much stuff. Like, I'm talking about 50 to 60 books a year. Now, things change so fast that, like, when you think about a book, so let's say it takes an author to write that book like half a year. Then the book is being published, so it's also so it's also a couple of months. So let's say roughly a year for a process of book. The book is being released. And then obviously it has to gain some traction and buzz. So another half a year. So when you read that book, it's already a year and a half outdated information. And in the age of AI, it's a stone age pretty much. It's like light years. Things double, like AI doubles its powers every 6 months, and outbound is not static. So new things evolve. Like GDM engineering is constantly being pushed to, like, to become more and more sophisticated. New things are happening, and right now the best way to learn is just to do this, to maybe just hang out with the people in the communities of people who are doing that,
Mhm.
because you learn the most in the trenches right now.
Yeah. I was about to ask you if after such a long time, like 10 years, you are still excited about it and there is still stuff to learn. But based on what we just discussed, I guess there is like, perfect time now to keep learning, trying to keep up and so much stuff happening. So I guess it will be more and more exciting.
Oh, it is actually the most exciting right now. Obviously the challenge is the highest. It's one of the most, like, harder things to stand out right now, but that makes it interesting. And at the same time, the technological, like, evolution what we're seeing right now is crazy. So I would say it's the most exciting times to be in sales. And one of the funniest things I see happening is, if you feel like you've got enough, if you've learned enough around sales, and your knowledge ends on 2022, so soon it will be 2026, you're outdated. The stuff that you learn is outdated already. So you have to be present in there. You have to.
And I wonder, when there was a rise of AI, when it, started growing ChatGPT and everything like that, what was your reaction to this? Because you, as a professional, were you like someone who saw it maybe as a threat, as a challenge that there's going to be more competition, it might, take your work or clients or something like that, or the opposite, that you saw it as something that is going to help you, that you're going to embrace it, and it's going to make it more fun? What was it like for you?
I was excited because things that it can do for me that I used to do manually, just for that simple fact, that was super interesting. Obviously, new technological, like, breakthrough means that newer companies, new competition will arise. Your old playbook has to be rewritten. So it was a turbulent time. So you, a lot of companies used to run things the way they did, and when AI happened, they took it lightly and maybe not so much so serious as they should at the beginning. Because then, right now, they quickly realize that, hey, we have to catch up, because competitors don't sleep. Like, they do more exciting stuff. So it's interesting, and it's also exciting, but I also find that the players who were late to the party, late to change their playbooks, are the ones that lost the most.
And often people think that it's late to join, or if they haven't joined some time ago, that they are behind. So for those people, would you tell them it's never late? You can still join. Don't be afraid.
Obviously, I mean, it is better if you would start it yesterday, but obviously you didn't. So the next best thing to start is today, because if you're gonna keep delaying that, you're just gonna be keep, like, being passed by other people. So, and also, just, it doesn't take that long to get into this game.
And we've been discussing outbound for the whole time. So what was actually the reason why you chose outbound over inbound? Or maybe you said before that you did both in your company, but still, why did you focus on this one over the other one?
So I did inbound for like 2 to 3 years, and then I did also outbound for 4 years or 5 years, and then obviously some partnerships and social selling. Inbound is easier. I feel like the reps that only do inbound closing, it's just taken half of the process. Like, it's half, if it's the closing stage. You're already working with somehow interested buyers. So it's way easier. You're more of a support account manager type of person. Outbound is a totally different beast, because you're fighting for someone's attention, and it's up to you to make sure that you reach out to the interested people. And how do you do that? And this is like where the challenge arises. So this is probably why I love outbound more, because if you do outbound, you're going to be fine in any situation in your life, because this job keeps you humble and straight all the time. Like in inbound, let's say if marketing or SEO had a better month, you're going to have more leads. So you're going to close more leads, right? But it doesn't mean that you source those leads. In outbound, you have to source those leads. So you kind of have to figure out and wing it all the time. So I like outbound more, even though it's way harder.
I like the answer. I guess I wasn't expecting it, but I like the mindset that it's more challenging and harder. So you go for it. And also, I think what you mentioned, like with SEO, for example, if algorithm likes you, then inbound obviously is going to be much easier as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Outbound is not that way. You have to make your own luck.
Yeah. And when did you, Yuri, basically start on LinkedIn, or when did you see the potential to use it for your business to grow your brand and start being there more active?
Yeah, I think it was so as you're working at outbound, LinkedIn is a essential part of your prospecting routine. So sellers are always on LinkedIn. They're always hang out there. They're always looking for leads. So that was me as well. And I was starting to observe this one shift that started happening back in 2020, that as more players joined the outbound, started sending out more call it like just emails, calls, what ended up happening is everybody tried to copy what's working right now. So if there's this one template, hot template right now, people try to copy it, and then after some time it starts to get irrelevant because everybody's sounding like that. So that translated into buyers being tired of all of those outreach tactics, and they wanted to started having more control in the process, meaning they started to have more need to research themselves instead of being contacted by sellers. So they want to start spending less time with sellers and more research on their own, which translated into them researching online and offline, attending conferences, joining communities, and just talking with peers. And in outbound, you kind of fought for that second part of I'm the seller, I'm contacting prospect, but we were not taking care of this first part of what do we do where when they hang out in those communities where they learn about those places. So I kind of wanted to take that space as well, because it's way easier to be with someone when they make up their decision compared to when they made up their decision and you try to change that. It's way easier just to influence, let's say, in that way, that decision when you just build relationship with people, hang out, and then present them an opportunity to maybe try out this product or your service, instead of when they already have joined a conference and somebody told them this is the solution to go, or this is the service, the agency to choose, and then you're trying to enter the process. It's like, no, 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 they're wrong. I'm better, or try our tool. It's way harder to do this only job. So I figured out that you kind of have to mix both.
And I think it's really smart because also based on what you mentioned, that it was year, if I remember correctly, 2020, which has been a while, people often feel like that they don't really want to put the reps in and like play the long game, but you just said that it's been literally quite a long time, so it speaks for itself, and you've built impressive brand and the following. So it will be maybe just message to the audience who's always looking for any secret growth tactics that it actually takes quite a while to grow.
Yeah, but well, I started posting on LinkedIn, funny enough, back in 2022, maybe late 2022, like midsummer, somewhere like that. So that's what I started posting, because as I hang out on LinkedIn, I've started seeing other reps starting to share content and growing. So like let's say 2021, me and the other person like from the United States have the same following, like 1,000. Then half a year passes, I try to like I see that person's profile, that person is at 10,000 and I'm at 1,000. It's like, wow, what's happening? Like, that's a stellar growth. And I'm seeing that that person is creating content and the buzz starts happening around that person. Half a year passes, I'm seeing that person at 20K. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, but what's end up happening is there's not much things that differ me from that person other the fact that that person have started taking actions and being consistent. So that there, the moment of realization came to me was like, yeah, I also have to start if I am to join this race. And I was a little bit later to the party because a lot of thought leaders were already shaped up on the market. They were already like, back then, there were like, some people close to 100,000, some people close to like 50, 20, 30,000. Then I was like, okay, I need to also join this. And I started doing that. And yeah, I mean, I just try to do my best every day. And that's kind of what happened with me. And it's just consistency of, it's not about pods, it's not about magic formulas. You just have to put in the work.
Yeah, I try to tell that to people as well, but it still seems like that they are looking for any secrets or shortcuts. But if they don't listen to me, now they have it from you. Are you struggling to stay consistent on LinkedIn? Pen Post helps you create high quality posts in minutes, so you can write faster, show up more, and stress way less. Built by creators for creators. It's the easiest way to grow your presence without burning out. Try it free at fanpost.com. So, Yuri, I noticed that on LinkedIn, I think you've got amazing content. And I don't say just because you're the guest now, but you share some really funny memes. So how did you actually come up with idea to share this type of content? Because to me, it really stands out. I'm a big fan of memes and I think it's unique, and especially if it fits your area of expertise. So tell us more about it.
It's all this outbound mentality, A/B testing. I used to do a lot of different things when it comes to content, but I always measured what it brought to me. What, obviously, I mean, engagement is cool, but does it move the needle forward? Does it also bring me leads? Does it also help me to network with someone? So I tested many formats, but I also use this strategy that you're being taught in outbound, that you have to lean on your strength. So in outbound, there's different ways how you can reach out to prospects. You can call, you can email, you can send a DM, you can record a video, and there's no right answer which is better. As long as you're making it work and it's working for you and you know how to do that, you should lean into that. So I kind of took the same mentality into LinkedIn and I started doing what comes naturally to me the most. So my main pillars right now are carousels, memes, and good infographics. This is what I found to be the content that has the most shares, people engaging from my ICP, people passing around that content, because there are different type of engagement. What I'm looking for is to create something meaningful enough that people would want to take it outside of LinkedIn and send it out to their colleagues on Slack, to their CEO, maybe post on other platforms as well. So this is the type of content that I'm aiming for right now, and I haven't yet cracked the videos in the way that I would want to. This is still on my radar, but for LinkedIn, it's carousels, infographics, and memes.
I like it. What you said before about testing and seeing what works, because I think that people often look, or they have like a question, what performs the best? Is it carousel? Is it video? But as you said, just test by yourself what fits you, what works for you the most. And I think also what you enjoy so that you can stick with it. And of course, try trial and error because you may not find out. But at the same time, you don't need to listen to other people and just find what works for you and what you enjoy.
Yeah, it's true. It's also, somebody will be better at creating a video. Someone will be a better designer, so they'll create a better infographic. Somebody spends more time and money on carousels, so they'll be better at carousels. Somebody is funnier, so they're going to create a funnier meme. You cannot copy others because you'll do half job of what they're doing. You have to lean into your strength.
I agree. And I've got this question, Yuri. I'm sure that many people ask you, and it's maybe a bit annoying question, but people like to ask what is like the secret to growth or any advice how to go viral or just grow on LinkedIn. So when you got this question, what would you answer to these people?
So there's a difference between growth and virality because there's a little bit different games. So let's talk about growth. It all depends on the current stage where you're at. So if I would break it down, I would break it down maybe to three pillars. The one pillar is under 10,000 followers. If you are under 10,000 followers, you have to lean a lot into commenting on others' people profiles because it's mostly about networking and getting you noticed. Nobody is going to come and see what you have to present. You can create the best content, and this is what I see a lot of really seasoned professionals fail at. They have the knowledge, but they spend most of their time creating that content, so they don't have energy to spend on networking, and basically they keep writing to a couple of people from their network. As a time passes, they get tired of it because they don't see their ROI from that investment, so they start kind of disappearing from it. The game at the beginning is you have to get noticed, you have to be seen by some people. So what I would say, just comment a lot, like create like a three separate groups. The one group is big creators in your niche, like rent out their audience. When they post, figure out the times when they post, try to be one of the first ones after they just like posted the post. Go in their comment section, leave a meaningful comment so they see it or the other people from their network see it and they start recognizing you. Get familiar with those people. Then the second group is find a group of people who are also actively commenting on others' profiles. But obviously, you have to realize if I'm actively commenting on my friends' profiles and we are like close to 100,000 followers, and you come and comment to me for the first time, don't expect me to go and comment on your profile straight away. Like,
Yeah.
we have to build that awareness of each other. We have to build those relationships. So it's easier to build relationship with people who are in a similar position than you are. So let's say if you're just starting out, build relationship with people who are also starting out because you share the same struggles. It's easier for you to be relatable to them. So that's kind of the growth plan for under 10,000. If you are between 10 to let's say 40, 30,000, you have to lean into collaborations a lot. You have to collab with other people's as well as comment. Like supporting is the key. You have to implement the commenting game all the time. But from the 10,000, you have to add the collaborating game. You have to level up your content and you have to start collaborating with other creators so you start sharing the audiences. And maybe anywhere from 40 to 50,000, you have to lean a lot into good quality content, and that comes with a lot of research, a lot of investment, and it's a totally different game from that moment.
I like how you divided it into different groups, and although I'm far from your number of followers, but I can really relate. For example, when someone reaches out for a collaboration, or maybe even for a podcast appearance as well, but it's someone that I've never heard of, and even maybe I would know them from engagement, from commenting, but I've never seen that person, and maybe then I check their profile, and for example, it's someone who has, I don't know, about 1K or 2K followers, which I don't want to sound like that I'm in a different position because I have more followers, but I think that those people should understand that there should be some kind of relationship, some kind of work behind by mutual engagement so that you know each other, and also understanding that I'm not going to reach out for collaboration with someone who's got, I don't know, for example, a person with 100K followers or something like that now in my position. So I think I really like what you said. I agree with that. And those were some great points. So I hope people will learn from it.
Thank you.
And Yurii, you've been in the game for a long time. So what is it that helps you to keep coming? Because let's be honest, it's not easy to show up every day, especially if you don't feel like it, or maybe if it's not performing the way you wish it was. So what is it that helps you to show up regularly?
It's probably the hardest things because you can probably say that too. There has been days and maybe even longer, I mean weeks where you don't want to post. because it's hard to keep it going, even though maybe when things are going well, life happens. I don't know, you get burned out, you get busy working on the house, buying a new car, whatever, you get sick, things happen. But what I've learned is the ones that are consistently providing actionable value, those are the ones who win it all at the end. And there is nothing special about it. There's no shortcut around it. As long as you're keeping useful to the community that you're creating, you have to be present, and it's your choice. You can stop. It's your choice, but just realize this point that things will never be the same as they are right now. Things change, and sooner than later, other people will come and take your position, take your niche, and it will be harder for you to climb back. So maintaining the pace is easier than accelerating. Just like look at a car as an example. When you start a car and you drive from 0 till 30 or 40, this is the most amount of gas is being spent during those moments. When you maintain the speed for like from 40 till 100, I'm talking about kilometers, not miles. From 40 till 100, this is like the lowest consumption for the car because you're maintaining it. And the same kind of thing goes on LinkedIn. Maintaining it is easier. So I'm trying to keep that habit going. And I know when things get tough, I know it'll be way harder to come back. So I don't participate 100% every day. One day it's 100, another day it's 5, another day it's 55%, another day it's 150%. I just try to do what I'm capable of and what resources do I have during that day. And this is what I'm trying to do. I just try to be consistent.
I like it and I agree. I think sometimes people forget what does it mean actually to be consistent, because it doesn't mean that you have to post every day, right? Because for some people, consistency can be posting 3 times per week. So I think it's important to realize again what are your options, your possibilities, such as how busy you are, what other things you need to do. And you don't have to post daily because someone else does that. Just find what works for you. And maybe in the future, adjust your game based on that, but you don't have to compare yourself to others.
Yeah, and when you don't feel like posting, just comment. Comment for 30 minutes on other people's profiles. And also, when you don't know what to post about, go and comment on other people's profiles. The ideas will flow. You'll start just noting something that you like, the angles that other people took, the formats, the topics that they talked about. You will get an inspiration. So it doesn't mean that every day you have to post. You're right about that, Thomas. That's a good point. As long whatever works for you, like if you're comfortable with posting 2 times a day, post with 2 times a day. Once you get like good at that, try to go for 3. Get good at 3, try to go for 4. But just keep the consistency and the quality of the content. And whatever it is for you, you have to don't post for the sake of posting, and at the same time don't comment for the sake of commenting. Just like that's probably it. People feel when you're not authentic.
Exactly. And it may sound like a cliche, but the quality over quantity is true. And I think on the topic of commenting, what I heard many times from other people is actually that they get more impressions from comments than on posts sometimes. Because I don't know if it's something recent. I think it's something recent that comments are showing number of impressions as well. So I would say don't underestimate
Mhm.
it, the power of commenting.
Yeah, this is this concept of renting someone's audience. Like they've built their audience, their own community. And when you're one of the first ones in their comment sections and your comment stands out because people start liking it, the creator, the person who posted the post responded to it, and you start gaining a lot of likes, what ends up happening, your comment will be shown as one of the first comments where people go and see that person's post. Like
Mhm.
usually it's comments that have the most likes are the ones that are shown on the top.
Yeah.
So what you end up happening is you end up being in their network by just leaving one comment instead of having to create all of that buzz yourself. So it's
Mhm.
a very smart strategy.
And don't think that we are stupid. We can spot when it's AI comment and when it's a real one. like for
Oh no,
people.
no, no. So I have my own take on AI comments. Like AI comments are too agreeable and are very hard to bring your own point of view, like new something, like new value that you can add to the post. AI comments are usually just repeating the comment and saying how smart this sounds and this idea is very good. We are talking about building an engagement. If you are wanting, so if you are thinking that AI comments will help you comment more, yes, that's true. But more people will just see that you're not taking things seriously. More people will just see that you're trying to do shortcuts, you're not authentic, so you will look like a fool to more people. So if that's the route that you want to go, please do.
And it's often quite awkward as well when you get just a summary of your post and there isn't really much to reply to such a comment. It's like, okay, yeah, thank you, but I don't know what else to say to that.
Yeah.
And Yuri, what's your take on other social media channels? Have you tried, or are you present, or have you got any plans for the future?
Yeah, so I wanted to take my LinkedIn to some sort of a good levels at first. And now that I'm feeling like I'm reaching to that number that I've set in my mind, I'll start expanding into other channels as well. X and IG, I would say, will be maybe TikTok, IG is kind of the same. So those will be the ones. So that's why I'm saying that I have to master the video game. Yeah, so those are the three on my radars that I have to get into. And obviously the YouTube, but at the same time, I don't want to do a lot at once. I have to figure out what I can do good one thing at a time, and that will be probably my next one that I'll join.
Yeah, I don't want to overstretch. I was going to say that for the video, you've got a good setup with your studio, as I said before the recording. And before you mentioned that you set a goal for LinkedIn, would it be just as we are recording now, 11K more followers, and then you reach a beautiful milestone?
Yeah, so that was the goal, is to get good at LinkedIn, get to 100K, and then obviously I could have maybe done it earlier, start spreading out to other platforms, but I just feel like 100K is a nice milestone, and then I'll be joining other platforms.
We just hope that you don't give up when you hit this milestone.
Oh no, no, no! Giving up is not the word that I practice.
I like it. So, Yuri, before we finish, I've got a few lighter questions. And the first one would be, what are some of your hobbies? I know that you've got some interesting ones listed on your LinkedIn About section. So can you tell us more about those?
Yeah, I love F1. I love watching F1 races. I love going to F1 races. I love driving. Either that's e-sim, like, when you go into a simulator and drive, those are fun, or when you go to a karting or like a cars on the track. So I love that experience. I'm kind of adrenaline junkie at the same time. So I love snowboarding. I love, I don't know, mountain biking, but also I don't try to be too foolish with that. And on a daily basis, I wouldn't say that I love so much exercising, but I find that exercising daily keeps me in a good shape and in a good state of mind and good energy levels. So it helps me a lot with my business. So I exercise daily, and it's like a mix of going to the gym, doing boxing, and doing cardio.
Yeah, that sounds like fun and definitely good break from working all the time. And when it comes to Formula, I don't really watch it anymore, but when I was younger, I enjoyed it as well. So who's your favorite driver?
Oh, I'm watching Formula for a very long time, so I have a few favorite drivers. So it all started with Alonso. Then I kind of loved their battle with Hamilton, so I started supporting Hamilton as a young driver. And now I really also like. There's a lot of good talent, so I would say maybe Oscar Piastri is nice.
We discussed it before the recording based on the countries that we are originally from. And I remember there used to be a driver called Kubica, right? And I used to like him because he
Yeah,
was close to my country. So would it be also one of your favorites based on where he comes from?
yeah, Kubica is nice. It's like one of the biggest what ifs in the Formula history. What if he didn't crash? And what if he joined Ferrari and race? So it's a very great talent. And just the simple fact that he came back basically with one arm to Formula One and raced there and was able to score points is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And Yuri, we discussed before that you used to study like the books when you're learning your craft, but even these books, or maybe books outside, have you got any recommendations for people, whether it's to learn the craft or even like for personal development or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say get Cold Calling Sucks book by 30 Minutes to President's Club. It's Nick Cegelski and then Armand Farag. Good book on cold calling. Well, honestly, I haven't been reading the books this year, so I don't know what else came out, but I'm sure there's some good stuff out there. What helped me specifically a couple of years ago is this Chris Voss book.
Negotiation.
Yes, it's about negotiation. It has a couple of good concepts to take care of and kind of realize what to do when you're in high stakes, kind of the concept of mirroring and other things. And still, I remember I've been reading that for a long, long time ago, but it also has a lot of good things in it. It's basically like a Bible of selling is the spin selling. So just to get into that, just kind of understand that helps.
Yeah. So then, Yuri, can you summarize where people can find you, follow you, and promote any of your services?
Well, you can follow me on LinkedIn and find me there. I'm always there, try to be there, useful to the community. And if you are in need for basically, if you know that you have to be present at outbound and you've tried a couple of things and things are not working, and you know outbound is changing, but it's very tough for you to keep it up, not even talking about implementing all of those changes, this is where you can come to me. We help you install the latest cold email systems, the latest and best practices based on your niche, based on your industry. We know the benchmarks. We know what works in your case. We know how much does it cost, so depending on your budget. And we will install it for you and help you set it up because we don't want to be the agency that takes the money from you and hey, let us run it for you. And then maybe when the time is up, hey, we'll take all the IP and all the knowledge with us, and you're just left with leads, and that's all. We help you learn how to manage that, how to install it, and then how to succeed at later.
I like it. And as always, I will add any links to the show notes. And you also enjoy some great memes, as I said before. And then, very last question: is there anything that I should have asked you and did not, or any final piece of advice or message that you would like to share before we finish?
Well, one of those things is the topics that I feel like a lot of times people don't talk enough about is this: how do you get good content ideas that are really meaningful to your ICP? Because there's difference between just content ideas that get likes, that get views, but how do you get in front of the right people? And this is one of those topics which is very hard to master on LinkedIn, but the easiest one is just listen to call recordings, listen to what your sales reps are saying, go and check out the support tickets, see what's been frequently asked, and build around that.
Yep, I like it and I agree. Of course, I encourage people to follow you. I want to say a big thank you for joining me, especially as we had some technical difficulties and challenges, but I really enjoyed it. I wish we had more time to discuss cold calling itself and getting leads and stuff like that. Maybe we can catch up anytime in the future again. So once again, big thank you. I will keep following and supporting, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Thomas. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for listening to Produced by with Tomen. Check the show notes for all the links, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your feedback. Speak soon.